Hey, we're back. And I love my LuvMe wig, but she needs a little bit of work. She's a bit full. The density is good if it was a long wig. But today, what we're going to do is take some of the tracks out. So I'm going to show you guys how I go about doing that. Sometimes you can just take a little seam ripper or some scissors and you can remove the whole track. Other times you may not have access to that. So just cutting the hair off the track still does the trick. So we're going to see which one is going to work best for us today. Alrighty, let's comb her out so we can see what we're looking at here. So I went ahead and took a closer look. We're gonna start with the short hair because that's the hair that's the dry hair in the back, which looks pretty, but it doesn't really function well as far as the dryness of the hair. And it's gonna start to mat and stuff at the bottom. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take out a couple of tracks in there. Now I'm looking to see if I can just cut a string and remove it. But LuvMe hair is done so very well that we'll probably just have to cut the hair off of the track, which is fine with me. It doesn't bother me at all. So I'm just gonna go in and remove the hair off of the track. Try to just get that hair because you don't want to cut anything too short, anything else that you're trying to keep. So just go along the track and just remove the hair. Once you're all done, you can always comb through to get all the excess hair out of it, but for right now, we're just trying to make sure that we clear the track of the hair. And see how close I got it? Just going straight across. And I don't necessarily want to do the sides yet, unless I can find out exactly where the track stops. Because I want to cut out the whole roll. And I found the rest of it. Just going with a little comb to separate it from the rest. And you can see right here, it kind of bends over a little bit. So if you want to cut the hair, you can, but if you want to keep it, that's fine too. It's not going to make much of a difference because you still have a lot of hair back there. There we go. Some people use a comb to thin their wigs, but by this being a textured wig, we don't want to go in with the comb to thinning it out. So I'm going to go in, you can go in and remove one track and then leave 2 rows and then remove another one. Or if you want to thin it out a whole lot, you can remove every other track. It will take some work, but the results are going to be great. You're going to love it. Since I started at the bottom, we're just going to go here. And I'm gonna go 2 tracks down and then remove another row. This should give me a little bit of thinning on the bottom, whereas it won't mat as much because the texture is gonna get kind of caught up. I can tell by how the hair is on the ends there. So we're just gonna go in and just gonna prevent it from happening. You can't really make too big of a mistake with this unless you cut through the wig. So just make sure that you're cutting right at the track and removing the hair. If you feel a bit of tension when you're cutting, you might have cut through. By this being a complete, like the cap itself is complete meshed. It's a lovely cap and it's real comfortable. So by it being this type of material and the tracks are sewn on top, even if you cut through, it will be okay. It may be a hole that you can kind of sew up or even put a little bit of lace glue or wig glue around, just to keep it so that it doesn't spread and it doesn't, it doesn't rip. Because you don't want to rip, you don't want your wig to rip. You got to kind of look at it like when you wear stockings and you snag your stockings and you don't want it to rip all the way up the leg. You use a little bit of nail polish, the clear nail polish. Remember those days? I know you do, you probably still do it. But this way, if you use just a little bit of glue around it, you'll be fine. Now I suggested lace glue on wig glue because if you're like me and you have a sensitive scalp, you can't take that black track glue that you use to do your hair and stuff like that. That I'm allergic to and it makes me break out. So I wouldn't dare put that on the inside of a wig that I'm gonna wear because I don't want it to irritate my scalp. So make sure you use something that's gonna be friendly to your particular skin. So guys, after about 45 minutes of cutting the tracks out, I did every other track. No, I didn't. I did every other track at the top, but then when I got midway, I started doing every third track because I didn't want it to get too thin. And this is what we got. She has a nice flow to her. She's not too thin at all. She still has a nice fullness and a nice fluff, but it's just not overbearing. And sometimes with a round face, when you have curly hair, the curls just kind of sit on your shoulders, okay? So it makes everything even more round. So this way, pulling the hair down just a tad bit and thinning it out did wonders. And we didn't lose the style at all. Alrighty, and that's it. This was an easy alteration here. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below and I will be sure to get back with you. But thanks again for hanging out with me today on Wigging Out with Ivy Eville.